Alright, back in the round of 32 here with YLTP taking on BBPB. You love to party versus Big Booby Power Boys. It's quite an interesting name there. Creative, wonder how they came up with it. Don't really want to know because it's kind of scary. But both solid teams obviously here in the round of 32 in the CiC Qualifiers as we continue to try to cover every single damn match of this tournament for reasons I can no longer remember. But I started, and god damn, I'm going to finish. So, here, YLTP, some names you should probably remember, as they did pretty well in the Haunted Season 2 playoffs. Hellborn side over here, guys I don't know too well, except for Epic Slacker, who I believe has played some competitive Han before. But the rest of the team I do not particularly recognize. So we'll see how this works out for them. Good luck to them. They very well could need it. I think YLTP probably the favorite in this particular match, but hey, you never know. Upsets happen. Crazy shit goes down all the time. But regardless of what will go down, what has gone down is the bans Kronos and Ophelia being removed here by Majestics as he removes the popular Suicide and Jungle option, and Kraken and Puppet Master being targeted by the Hellborn, getting out that versatile Kraken and the very powerful carry, typically Puppet Master. So 4 bans here that make a ton of sense, as these are all heroes we see regularly in the competitive scene and all heroes that win a lot of games. So Legion side, after their bans, will follow it up with a Rhapsody selection first overall, and then a Rally. Love the Rhapsody. First pick, sure, why not? I think she's one of the very few support heroes I might actually take first. And the Rally, don't like very much, don't like that hero, don't like what, I know, the skills are valuable, I just don't feel like he's powerful enough. The Seismic Slam's too easy to miss, Demoralizing Roar doesn't do very much, Battle Experience got nerfed, and it doesn't really help his laning presence as much as it used to. Compel is still a strong tool, and it's a really great initiation tool, especially because you can use it on your allies as well as, so that's initiation as well as defensive capability. But I'm just not a huge fan. I know, he's versatile, which is great, but why not pick Drunken Master? Does pretty much the same thing, but is just generally better. He's better in team fights, he scales better, he ganks better, he's just a better hero. Better Suicide, better Initiator, better pretty much everything. So, yeah, I don't know. Rally perhaps has a little bit more multiple target damage, just because the Compel can hit multiple heroes, Seismic Slam can hit multiple heroes, so perhaps that's what they're going for. It just feels to me like not really a hero that has a great role unless a lot of other specific heroes are banned out, including Kraken, including Drunken Master. And of course Kraken already taken out this game. But Hellborn will follow their Torturer pick up with Bubbles, 2 strong heroes obviously, and once again going for that support first pick, as Torturer and Rhapsody, are generally considered the strongest support heroes in the metagame right now. Very, very high tier picks and consistently prioritized. And for a good reason, as Rhapsody is, I think, a little bit better as a ganking support than Torturer is, but both strong babysitters, and Torturer probably a little bit better at babysit because he is better at being able to zone opposing Suicides with his Impalement ability. And Prisoner, okay. So, each of them have their small strengths, each of them have more strengths, as they're not really full of weaknesses either, but regardless, those are the 2 selections, and they both make plenty of sense. Bubbles going to be the second pick, obviously. Very well seen, very popular, and strong hero. Versatile as well, and the Pharaoh pickup, same deal. So, Hellborn so far, it's kind of hard to predict their lanes are going to be. Bubbles and Pharaoh both very capable of playing the Suicide as well as the mid role, and occasionally we'll see one of them in the short lane as well. I don't anticipate that will be the case in this game. I think Hellborn side is either looking for a tri-lane here or a jungler, so yeah, Majestics here banning out the Tempest. He should be prioritizing the jungle bans because Hellborn are, they have 2 heroes here in Bubbles and Pharaoh that are solo laners essentially. So either going to be a tri-lane or it's going to be a jungle, and I expect to see the jungle here from the Hellborn side. Legion side do pick up that Prisoner. Solid here, obviously, hook hero is very good. I'm not sure I would go for him when Gauntlet's still on the board, but perhaps I don't really feel comfortable playing Gauntlet. Not quite the same type of hook hero. The mechanic of the hook is a little different, so if you don't like the feel of it, if you don't like the way it works, then perhaps Prisoner a little bit more to your liking. Prisoner also a little more team fight oriented than Gauntlet, who is a little more bursty. So you know, once again, it's a question of who fits better, but I think generally speaking, Gauntlet's a little bit better as a hero, and I might have gone for him here, especially because the team fight really isn't that bad so far with Rhapsody and Rally, so perhaps they're just looking to double down on the team fight and take a lot of 5v5 engagements, but perhaps some burst damage could serve them well. Rally does provide it, of course, and that's another reason for me to not pick Rally and not pick Gauntlet. They just have finished their bans here, Tempest, Moon Queen, and Sand Wraith, so only getting rid of that one jungler, and unless they're going to first pick Parasite here, I don't really like that policy. I think there's a few too many on the board. Solstice is available. We don't see him that much, but he is certainly growing in popularity, as he's becoming a more viable jungle option in many drafters' minds. And I think for decent reason. He's not a great jungler, and I don't think that we've seen too many players use him to his full capacity, but he's not the best, really, and I think in the end it's just not a hero that should be prioritized over something like Tempest, Ophelia, even Parasite. And they do first pick the NG here, so I'm not a huge fan of the way Majestics is drafting at this point. Draconis will be the fourth pick, actually, anyway. But before we do that, Wretched Hag, Dark Lady, and Gemini are the bans here, obviously targeting the hard carries, as Legion side are looking for a short laner and potentially a tri-lane, but I would guess defensive dual lanes here. Probably going to send Prisoner, Engineer, Middle, Rally, Suicide, and Rhapsody, and this fifth pick in the short lane as the carry. Depends on who the carry is, of course, but that would be the typical lane setup. And it will be Dampier. So yeah, actually we could see a tri-lane here. I don't think I'd like that. I think the Rhapsody Dampier in the bottom lane is probably what you're going to want to go for, just because Dampier is a strong early offensive hero, and he's a strong tri-lane hero, but we don't see him in the tri-lane too much. It was just don't see tri-lanes too much, so could still be that, but you know, you never know. I just said you know, you never know. Me. Wow. Anyway, Hellborn side, look at the last pickup here. I'm expecting the Parasite. I mean, I don't see any other way they're not going to. It's going to be Parasite or Solstice, pretty much. I don't see any way they're going for a second support here unless they want to run a tri-lane against the... Yep, okay, the Legionnaire, alright. That was my third number 3 pick, and that's fine. That's going to be their jungler. So, not a bad selection there. I think I probably would have preferred the Parasite just because that would have enabled the Hellborn to have a little bit more mid-game presence, open up the map a little bit more with burst damage, put the Legion side on the defensive. Parasite and Bubbles, obviously, heavy magic burst, and nobody on this Legion team is particularly tanky. Prisoner and Rally, of course, as strength heroes, are harder to take down, but they're not ridiculously so, especially as strength heroes. They're just not really fat tanks. So Bubbles plus Parasite would basically be a burst kill on anybody on this Legion side. And for some reason, oh, I'm already zoomed out. I'm like, how come I can't zoom out? Because I'm already zoomed out. Anyway, so we'll see what the lane shape up here, as I'm looking like Bubble's going to be in the Suicide lane, as he has tons and tons of regen, although Pharaoh's going down there. And he's got 6 tangos on ward, so that could be it as well. Bubbles bringing quite a lot of regen here to this middle lane. Pot, 3 tangos, and a health potion. Or a mana potion. It's interesting. I guess anticipating a difficult matchup here. Top lane, looks like we might actually see the aggressive Rally tri-lane, and that's what it is going to be. I don't like this. I'm really not a fan of this, actually. If you're going to run a tri-lane, I think you need to put Dampier in it, because he is a Stoneball type hero that needs the takeoff. Obviously, the initiation potential and the kill potential might be even a little stronger with the current tri-lane they're setting up, but I think you need to be more concerned about the fact that Dampier in bottom lane is going to be contested by this Pharaoh, and it's not going to be an easy lane win for him, and that's basically what he needs to be able to get going super fast. He needs support down here to continually stack the jungle for him early on so he can take those camps quickly. And I don't think this lane decision makes a lot of sense. So we'll see if they stick to it, but it looks like what's going to happen here, as YLTP is sending the aggressive tri-lane. Now, it's a good thing they're sending it aggressive. I really hate defensive tri-lanes. Seems like you're giving up the Suicide lane and then not taking advantage of your short lane tower by saying, alright, we're going to put 3 heroes here. It's like, you really need that much of an advantage in one lane. And, well, whatever, but... Middle, Prisoner versus Bubbles. This should be a pretty solid win for Bubbles, as, once again, Prisoner just not the tankiest of strength heroes here. 625 health to start with, which is solid, but he's not the greatest. Let's see what his armor. 3.1 armor. Yeah, not that big a deal. So the harass damage should come out pretty consistently here from his bubbles, as well as the difficulty in killing him thanks to the take cover and shell surf. So prisoner almost certainly not going to get any kills here unless bubbles massively misplays, which is always possible, but I think counting on that is not a good idea in terms of strategy. So I don't particularly like Legion's draft. I don't particularly like the laning decisions, but at the same time, this is a team that has plenty of competitive experience, so perhaps that will be enough to work in their favor. It's just going to be a skill difference, and that's what's going to give them the advantage here. Now, maybe they're trying something out, although this isn't really that non-traditional lineup. At the same time, I don't really feel like teams should be going, oh, we're better than this team, so we should be able to beat them regardless of what we do. That's just sort of asking for trouble. Because then you're going to run into a team that is better than you thought, and then you lose. And you lose the match. You shouldn't have lost because you were screwing around, but I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of YLTP's decisions here. I think Hellborn's decisions are largely predictable, but very good. Seeing this top lane here, actually torturing me a lot of trouble, taking the Staccato stuns as Rhapsody's cutting her way through the trees, but it doesn't be anything, not going to be any more than that. So Dragon and Rally having about the same freeform, and when you go up with a try against a duel, the tri-lane hero that's farming should be like massively winning. Now they don't really have lane control quite yet, but like this Rally should be drastically out farming the Draconis here. That shouldn't be, you know, an even CS here too. They're going to jump into Draconis, oh the Compel, and the Keg. Staccato stuns are there. Nope, continuing reactions go down first, and the push away from Rhapsody, but this is still going to be a kill as Staccatos are there. And that's a new thing that happened. I did not know about that pack. So they do get the kill, Smithics on the Rhapsody, picking up the Bloodlust, and that's what they need to have happen. They need to have that a few more times, probably at least. And well done so far. Bottom lane here, Dampier up against the Pharaoh. Dampier actually doing quite well at 250 gold per minute compared to Pharaoh at 180, and he should definitely win this lane. The issue is basically how hard will he win it, and at 250 gold per minute, that's probably not quite hard enough. Also notable that Legion here has gone the aggressive jungle as a result of the massive warding that went out. There was I think a ward over here as well. Yeah, there's a ward over there. So they warded 4 camps here. On the Hellborn side, and obviously we skip straight to the boss. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, actually, Nighty drops as Hellfire goes down, and yeah, that's bad. So that's really bad. Now all of a sudden, as Pharaoh's at 280 gold per minute and Dampier's at 214, so they're going to shut down this Draconis up top fairly effectively. He's only at 150 gold per minute, which is very good. The problem is that Hellborn are naturally going to have a bit of a experience advantage because they've got Legionnaire in the woods here. So they can pretty much afford, and they got the nice mid advantage as well, so they can afford to eat this on Dragon and sort of lose the laning phase but come back later. Keg on top of the Compel Stun here for Torture. They're going to try to get a kill here. Turret goes down, and that's going to be a dead Torturer. There's not really much they can do. Dragon trying to turn this around. Not a good idea. Staccato stands the ground, and he's going to be able to get away here, but not a solid plan there from Dragon. That was just going to be his death. So does back off and barely manages to live here. Pharaoh grabbing the rune on bottom. It is a refreshment, and up top here, Invis rune will be picked up by somebody. Middle lane, actually, this Prisoner is at 320 gold per minute compared to Bubbles at only 238. So Prisoner winning the last hit war, and that's, I feel like, a bit of a misplay. Actually, down here, Pharaoh putting the Hellfire down. Going to be another kill onto Nighty. So the Suicide Pharaoh here doing very well, as he's got a couple of kills onto this Dampier, and looks like Rhapsody perhaps going to rotate, going to try to help him out, and they do need something to do something to address the situation pretty much right now before it starts to get more out of hand, because that's going to be a bit of an issue. So Bubbles here in the mid lane, I'm kind of surprised that he's not doing better. Obviously, last hitting more difficult considering that Prisoner has a hatchet, Bubbles is a ranged hero, so the auto attack damage is substantially different. The concern I have is more that Bubbles should just be harassing this Prisoner out of lane, and it doesn't seem like that's happening too much. Look at the hero damage here, and Bubbles at 11%, which is decent but not the best. In this jungle, meanwhile, Legionnaire going to get jumped on, a couple more auto attacks, and he will fall. Trying to live here, not going to happen. as the Jukes of the Forest are unsuccessful. So 3-2 hero kill advantage so far for the Legion side, as they are also taking a slight gold lead, but losing out in experience a little bit, mostly thanks to that Legionnaire. Rally going on Adventure in the Hellborn Woods. And I think they might try to jump this Bubbles here. A little interesting that he didn't wait until he got level 6 before he does this. Or, I mean, he can't be looking for Lego because he knows that he's missing. Or he knows that he's dead. So, just going on a tour, I guess, of the woods. I hope that was enjoyable there, Majestics. I don't know. Seems like fun. Let's go on a nice holiday. Anyway, resources mostly even here, and Jesus, Rally just really loves the Hellborn Woods, doesn't he? He keeps trying to kick this layout, which is great, but they need to address the Dampier, or the Draconis up top here, who's going to start taking off if he doesn't get a contested lane. So, I mean, yeah, you want to be concerned about the Legionnaire and gank him as much as possible, especially because he is one of the jungle heroes who takes a lot of stuff. Meanwhile, Pharaoh on bottom lane getting it jumped. He will just port out, though, and this is going to be successful. Well played. So, Pharaoh avoiding the death there as he goes back to base. Does have Wrath of the Pharaoh up, so they might be looking to set something up on this prisoner. No. He looked like he was heading middle, but in fact, we'll just go back bottom. And I was saying, you know, Legionnaire is one of the heroes that does this. So he's going to sit in the woods with very, very low health because he takes a lot of health while he's takes a lot of damage while he's jungling. So if you gank him at the appropriate time, you can definitely kill him very easily. The issue is how much time are you wasting doing that, and in the meantime, how good is Draconis' farm getting? Top lane here, Prisoner has a haste rune. They're going to look for a jump onto somebody. Rally jumping forward, has the phase boots, and will try to jump. It's not going to be enough, though, as the Burning Flight goes down, and Draconis is just fine. Has Burning Flight level 3, actually. It's surprising he's choosing to max that. Want to be careful with this courier, because it's going to fly right over a couple of support heroes here, and they're microing it to try to get it away, so that's good. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Bubbles needs to... Yep, you need to move away, buddy, because you've got a gank squad coming at you.
Not escape this time.
So Bubbles will be alright. Kind of surprising he's able to port with the shackle on him. I thought that restricted move speed, but apparently not the teleportation. Anyway, Legion side's gank squad gonna run out a little bit and head back top to reform the tri-lane, as Prisoner goes right back to his middle lane, having given up some stuff to Bubbles here, who are currently sitting at 250 gold per minute. Nice take cover there. I'm not sure if that hook would have hit, but no reason to chance it. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Pharaoh going to jump in with Wrath, and he's now going to decide that's not a great idea anymore with the Consume coming out from Dampier. And both heroes down here will be fine. Pharaoh pops the regen rune, going to get himself right back up to full. Probably could have waited a couple of seconds on that till his nuke was back up, but whatever. He's popped his Hellfire or something, I don't know. Should be lots of spins here for Lego. As he's going to get jumped, though, by Rhapsody. Staccato stuns go down. Are they going to be able to get the initiation, though? Rally's heading over, puts the compel from Rhapsody. Bubbles comes in, though, with the kill field here. As there it finally goes down. Rally going to be in some trouble. Rhapsody going to be one more auto attack, actually. And she's waiting off to the side. And they will actually get the trade there, obviously in favor of the Hellborn side. And nope, this is going to be in favor of the Hellborn side as they clean up here on these supports. So ends up being a 3-for-1 there, as BBPB takes out a bunch of the Legion heroes. Initial trade, obviously, of Rhapsody for Legionnaire, favoring the Legion side, but the cleanup onto both Rally and Engineer as Pharaoh rotated. Obviously very helpful. So they take a 45 hero kill lead at this point. Gold relatively even experience in favor of them, as they have 3k right now. Meanwhile, here in the bottom lane, we're going to see if they can actually do anything with this Pharaoh. Hellfire is going down. He's going to pick up the refresh. No, he's not. That was interesting. And now he's gonna die. That was really, really odd. Did he think that he had gotten it and then moved away? And he's like, oh, well, not gonna get it, and then I'm gonna go. So probably should have gotten the refresh, run down the river here, and had the bubbles coming in to help him out. But unable to get away, so ends up being a counter kill onto the Pharaoh, which is good considering he's sitting at 270 gold per minute. They probably want to address him sooner rather than later. Bubbles on the top farmer on the Hellborn side at 287 GPM. Prisoner leading the way in the game at 332, but once again, gold relatively even. Compel up top does actually miss as Dragon activates the Burning Flame. Interesting that Rhapsody chose to go for the Arcane Hymn here. Really, really odd. I guess they just figured Damp with all this magic damage can use the lifesteal, which is, I mean, that's great synergy. Actually, this wolf's trapped here, so that's going to block this camp. Bottom lane, Pharaoh jumps here, and then some chain reactions go on to 2, and that's going to basically stop the aggression. So Prisoner's also coming up here and through the woods, and they're really trying to get as many ganks as they possibly can off, and they're not proving particularly successful. Prisoner going to head back middle, as Bubbles will greet him by moving off the lane. He's also going to pour top here as they see a couple heroes. They're actually taking the triple stack, and they're going to jump on top of this Rally here, who has no mana, therefore cannot compel. Chain reactions missed, though. Then we'll do anything. Off to the side, double damage actually on Bubbles, gets a couple of kills on both supports. Rally over here, they're trying to do something. Bubbles chugging the bottle. We'll see. Actually, does have enough mana for the Shell Surf. Has a DD as well. They're going to dive this. No. Shell Surf did connect, but not choosing to go in there, probably a good idea. Despite the fact that Rally was out of mana, just almost certainly not going to kill him. And the dive wouldn't have been necessary or good.
Come back here.
Hook used middle lane. That was weird. Just take the last hit, dude. Bubbles missing a free CS. Top lane, all sorts of wards here from Torture, as he's just feeling really paranoid. Bottom lane continues to be in favor of... Actually, no, Damp here now, as he's able to get the CS battle back 280 gold per minute compared to 270 from Pharaoh. As Pharaoh obviously has spent some more time ganking and has level advantage, so he's not particularly concerned here. Bubbles with the regen rune, actually misses the Shell Surf there. Wrath of the Pharaoh in on top of the Mummy Walls, will jump out, will do Damp here, and this was just pretty terribly played. Missing the Shell Surf, allowing them to jump out of the walls with the flight, and oops. So some lack of coordination there from the Hellborn side, and they do not get the kill. They probably wouldn't have anyway, as Prisoner ported in.
Come back here.
Certainly did not do themselves many favors. Prisoner obviously with that portal key first item, so he'll be providing plenty of initiation with that. Likely going to see a similar early pickup here on Rally. Helm the Black Legion onto Mr. Legionnaire. In the meantime, actually in the middle was Rhapsody going to get caught out here by a couple of heroes, and that's nothing she can do about that. Wrong place, wrong time, as the aggression in the Hellborn jungle not paying off right there. Meanwhile, up top, Blazing Flake goes off, and they're going to try to do something. Energy field here, going to be killed by the tower. Actually, kill field onto a couple, and we'll see if they can do anything. Kendra takes a stun here, and that's not going to do very well for him, so I'm going to see finishes off. Rally over here, going to get caught by the Mummy Walls, but Compel over them, actually, and he will be just fine. So, yet another pick off on a support hero on this Legion side, but Hellborn unable to clean up on Rally. Mid lane tower is going to be heavily pressured by Prisoner, his illusions, and Damp here. Should be a tower kill pretty easily.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Come back here.
And you gotta be a little concerned here about this, the Dargon. You know, 256 gold per minute here, 15 minutes into the game, and just not doing particularly well. All the stacks obviously being taken by Lego, and he will actually get pulled in by Prisoner, but not going to be any follow-up there. Smithix on the Rhapsody, not quite able to get it there in time. So the stacks are great, and Lego's using them to try to take off here, but it's also going to prevent Draconis from being able to effectively farm, as he does love his stacks. Also notable, the Ancients have not been stacked at all, which is a pretty serious error.
I am free.
We know up here a jump, and she will kill Torture, but that's going to be it. Now going to try to look to reinitiate onto Legionnaire. Will be successful there. Staccato Stuns go down. They're going to try to turn this on Rhapsody. The Legionnaire is definitely going to die here. Rhapsody will be able to get away. Puts the Answer down to heal herself up. Mommy Wall's going off, disrupting everything. Bubble's going to jump in onto the Engineer. They'll try to clean up onto him, but Rhapsody's providing a distraction off to the side, and she will run away, perhaps to her death. Kelpfield goes down, one more auto attack. Staccato Stuns are on first, and she just dies to the Kelpfield stun. So, misjudging exactly how far she could walk away. Shelf Surf there, not going to connect on the rally, but he will compel away, trying to get the hell out of here. Obviously, the middle tower being down is a pretty significant advantage, but running right into the creep wave, less so. Pharaoh here drops the Tormented Soul, will hit rally, but he should be okay with the regen rune popped, and he's got some help in Dampier in this bottom lane. So rally, successful escape, and they only are able to clean up onto the Rhapsody as they lose both Torture and Rally in that engagement. So YLTP coming out a little bit ahead here, have taken a bit of a gold lead as well as an experience disadvantage, but they've mitigated it somewhat. They were down about 3k, now they're down about 2k. So coming back in both gold and experience a little bit. Hellborn side, looks like they're prioritizing push books. Bubbles picking one up early. Pharaoh here actually going to be in some trouble. Compel does hit on top of the keg stun, and that's going to be his death. Seismic Slam does hit, and that's going to be a kill for Majestics, plus a bottom tower push, and likely a bottom tower kill. As a couple more hits will finish it off. So Legion taking some map control here with tower kills in both the bottom and middle lanes. Obviously going to help them out in terms of their ability to farm the map and to prevent Hellborn from being able to feel safe and secure even on their own side of the river. A very valuable thing. So I wonder if, I don't know if the Pharaoh's going for the Energizer here with a major totem, or if he's going for a second push book. I think the second push book at this point probably a little unnecessary, so I sort of hope it's the Energizer, but that's a bit of a weird pickup on a Pharaoh. I think I prefer the Barbed Armor, actually, just because there seems to be quite a bit of damage that it is difficult to control. Seismic Slam, Vampiric Flight, the Terrorize, even the Prisoner Ultimate, and the Dance Floor, or the Engie Ultimate for that matter, could also help out with a Barbed Armor. So I think either you're going to go straight for the tank build, or you go for the offensive item in Barbed Armor and see what happens. Barbed Armor doesn't require a major stun, does it? No, I didn't think so. Invis picked up there, and it might need to be used here. So it does go off. Actually, Bubbles going to jump in there. Perhaps not the greatest idea. Pharaoh is falling anyway, and Bubbles now in a lot of trouble as he drops his shell surf, gets pulled back in, and that's an easy kill. Kelpfield on 3 obviously, but not really doing too much. So the initiation on the Pharaoh and then the reinitiation on the Bubbles as he made the poor decision to try to help his friend. And the Legion side tied up in hero kills at 10-10. Top lane can be pressured here a bit by the Hellborn side, but probably won't be able to get this tower kill really easily. Torture's Impelment helping out a bit, but obviously Creep Wave is here, and Smithix on the Rhapsody gonna force him back. Obviously difficult to do too much with. Staccato Stuns continue to go off and do plenty of damage to Torture, but they should not be able to get a kill here. He will pop a health pot. Rally going to jump in and perhaps look for an initiation. They're going to draw a port here. Chain reactions actually do hit him, and obviously Staccatos are back up. They are going to be able to get the kill with the keg stun. And look at the Seismic Slam, not going to happen as the Mummy Walls push him away, so it ends up being just a kill onto Torture. As Pharaoh finally pops that Invis rune. And we'll provide some scouting information with Engineer running off to the side. Dropping a Ward of Sight right behind the tower, and all of the Legion side except for Dampier is here. Dampier looking to port as well, I think. Prisoner wasting a hook a bit, but they're looking to get the last tower kill as far as the tier 1 towers go. Dampier continuing to farm the bottom lane, obviously has picked up a port. And meanwhile here off to the side, actually they will get the jump onto Rhapsody, and that's a nice kill. Prisoner perhaps going to be next on the list, as both Pharaoh and Bubbles are in the middle, and they will actually get pulled in, along with Legionnaire, who's in the middle of everybody now. Chain reactions go down, and a bunch of AoE damage. Engineer drops the energy field. He's going to try to get everybody away, and it might actually be successful. Bottom tower does fall from Dampier in the meantime. Gelfield has 2 there, as Prisoner going to finally take the death. Dampier gonna come here. He is there for cleanup. Chain reactions get hit though, and the keg stun pushes Torture away, so will he be able to do anything? Nice ultimate from Rhapsody there. Will save Pharaoh, or Engineer in the meantime, but Pharaoh hooks in. He's gonna try to get the last hit, and will clean up onto Engineer. Meanwhile, Leech starts cleaning up everything as Dampier helps to try to finish up the genocide. Only Legionnaire and Dracona still alive at this point. Lego hugging his tower, trying to live. Dragon will be able to get away, but Legionnaire probably not going to be so lucky. Dampier looking for the opening. And they will find him here. Staccato stuns, not even necessary. Actually, they are used, and Smithix picks up the last hit. So, ends up being a 4-4-2 in favor of the Legion team. As their various AoE stuff cleans up. And Dampier joining the fight really at the best time. Calborn had dropped pretty much all of their major spells, and the reinitiation potential was extremely strong with Rhapsody and Engineer looking for their second go-around. So he was quite able to clean up on a bunch of relatively low health targets, obviously for catapulting him to now 440 gold per minute with the top tower kill, which is the last tier 1. I was not able to do too much, so Ignite you taken off quite a bit, obviously looking for that Grimoire of Power, has a light brand already, and there's the purchase of the Grimoire. Engineer here does have relatively normal items. I think that Major Totem is going to be a push book, which makes plenty of sense considering the presence of the Mummy Walls as well as the Legionnaire. Speaking of Legionnaire, he does have a portal key picked up, so he's going to be able to provide some strong initiation potential. Prisoner going for a Bulwark and then a Shrunken Head makes a fair bit of sense, especially because of the presence of Bubbles and Draconis and Torture on the opposing team. Obviously, the 3 of them putting out a fair bit of magic damage. Rhapsody pretty much playing the Ward Bitch support, doesn't have too much beyond her Striders and wards and various minor stat items. Looks like Rally might actually be going for a Staff of the Master here, which would be fun. Obviously, massively increases the staff range. I wonder if you can see it. No, it doesn't look like it. Dragon pick up a Nullstone as his first item. Not really sure why. It's only going to stop the Staccato, the Shackle, and the Terrorize, or the Flight, which are all reasonably good spells, but nothing you really like. Oh wow, we're actually finishing the staff, so it's a relatively quick staff for him at 320 gold per minute. First item, and he will have a massive seismic slam range now. Quite easily able to hit multiple heroes. Legionnaire actually misses the initiation, and so does Pharaoh. So Prisoner gets out of there pretty much totally unscathed, as multiple initiation tools are used early on. And perhaps, you know, that might be an issue with Legionnaire's build. Going the portal key this early on, especially when you have a Pharaoh and a Bubbles on your team, you don't really need to be the primary initiator. And he's not going to survive very long. He has 1400 health right here, and the Legion side will be able to burst that down quite quickly. So, I mean, the Pharaoh is tankier than he is, Prisoner is tankier than he is, Dampier is tankier than he is, Rally's tankier than he is. So I'm not a really big fan of that early item portal key. I think he can use the charge at this point, considering the kelp field and the mummy walls. He doesn't need, you know, I'm going to run in, I need to jump in with a portal key. He can wait. He can be a secondary initiator if that's what it calls for. And the tankiness would probably suit him better in that regard. Or barbed armor, just like Pharaoh. We'll pick up a Blood Chalice here, as Pharaoh hasn't done too much with his money after going for that Major Totem. Obviously Dragon with the Nullstone, as we talked about earlier. And Shrunken Heads are probably the next items of choice here for the Legion side as they look to go for some defensive ability, keep themselves alive in these team fights, make sure that the damage is not particularly overwhelming. They're obviously looking to push this secondary mid tower though. And Hellborn don't want to just give it up, but the slow push from the Legion side is proving quite effective. Invis room here on Dampier. Could just jump this Torture, and that's what he's going to do. Going to be a nice easy kill there. And actually pre-initiation on Prisoner will drop the ultimate. Not going to actually affect Draconis here as he runs away. Probably Pharaoh coming in onto a couple. Nice ultimate there from Rhapsody. Doesn't actually save Fastnick on that Prisoner as the execution from Legionnaire finishes him off. Meanwhile, Senelex drops off to the side. Seismic Slam there will hit Draconis, and the initiation once again from Legionnaire, but Dampier jumping back in here will finish off Dragon. In the meantime, Rally falls, and Dampier trying to go 1v3 here. Prisoner bites back, comes right back into the fight, and Legionnaire's in a lot of trouble. Hellfire goes down. Going to be able to slowing down some people a little bit, but not enough. Pushback away from Bubbles, and the reinitiation from the portal key. Easy kill there from Dampier, and Mummy Wells go down on Pharaoh. Not going to be enough to save him. Chain reactions will actually hit. The best that's going to do is put a kill onto Torture instead of Pharaoh, though, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Maybe even both, actually, as the Shackle should be back up relatively soon. No mana, though, so Pharaoh will be able to get back into his well as Prisoner skirts out of there. Ends up being a hat trick here for a Knight EU, nearly 500 gold per minute, as everybody on the Hellborn side except for Pharaoh died. They did use a buyback on both Prisoner and Rhapsody, and that's not the greatest thing. Meanwhile, off to the side here, actually, Pharaoh jumping back in for reasons.
Mother.
That was a terrible decision. I don't know why he did that, obviously. But it was not a good move. So, I guess Pharaoh perhaps thinking actually jump in here from Legionnaire. Rally compels Rhapsody away, though. And she will still probably fall here. Staccato Stuns go down into Lego. Chain reactions do hit. And she's still in some trouble, actually. Will drop, but the ultimate from Prisoner trying to get somebody. Torture will be picked up. One more auto attack. He does fall. Ends up being support for support so far. Legionnaire going to be picked off off the side here by Dampier. Kelfield onto Prisoner 945 in the meantime. And Engineering puts the ultimate field down, but will still allow the kill onto Prisoner. Bubbles and Veil in trouble. And that's going to be his death at some point. Yep, that's it. So, Genocide actually for the Legion side as they finish off the Bubbles. They lose Prisoner and Rhapsody once again. Neither of them interested in buying back, of course, as this is going to be a mid-tower and very possibly a base tower as well. Pharaoh is back, but he's not going to be able to do too much here. And Damp finishes off the Shrunken Head there. Engineer getting closer to his push book, having picked up the Neophytes book. And with Torture back, it looks like the Legion side will retreat. Not a lot of mana here on Damp or Engineer, and apparently feeling like that's not really a situation they want to push. Damp will just clean up the Hellborn Woods and continue to increase his farm now at 550 gold per minute. So, did not snowball early, snowballed mid, really. And it kind of makes you wonder, how well could this game have gone? How easily could they have finished it if they had just given him a babysitter in that bottom lane and let him get the Grimoire 5 minutes earlier? Because honestly, I think that's perhaps the only reason we're still in this game, is because the Hellborn side got off to a pretty strong advantage in the laning phase thanks to some pretty poor laning decisions by the Legion team. And they just didn't get punished heavily enough because of the tri-lane up top. Meanwhile, over here, Torture will get picked off by Prisoner as he uses the ultimate to help clean up that kill. Spellsunder on Pharaoh. Okay. Why? Is this for the Tormented Soul? Like, this does magic damage too. The Wrath does magic damage. The Hellfire does magic damage, I guess, but not nearly enough. Haystream battle up here. Bubbles this time. Actually, Wrath of Pharaoh coming in as well as a Legionnaire initiation, but Dampier going to follow this up, and the Shrunken Heads go down. Kelfield goes down. Ice ultimate here from Rhapsody will save everybody. Pharaoh's the first one to fall. Chain reaction trying to save Bubbles here. That's not going to happen. Ends up being a 2-for-0 so far. Damp looking for another initiation, but he will not find it. And he PKs on out of the base, and that's going to be a Kongor. Kongor definitely going to fall here, and we'll see who the token goes to. Dampier doesn't have an obvious place for it. Nope, sells the bottle, so it will be him. Or he gives it to Engineer, I guess.
Kongor has been been slain.
So, obviously that token there, bit of a problem for the Hellborn side. They're down about 20k in both gold and experience. They can't really leave their base because the initiation from the Legion side is extremely powerful. A couple of portal keys picked up so far. Pushbook now in Rhapsody as well as an Engineer, so those mummy walls not going to be able to do too much. And the Legionnaire will also be substantially less effective. And I'm not really sure where the Hellborn side go from this. I don't think that... I mean, they're going to need some pretty serious misplays from the Legion team at this point in order to salvage this game. I think they made some pretty poor decisions with their items. I don't like the first item, Null Sun on the Dragon. I think he probably should have either gone Grimoire or even Shrunken. Maybe. He's going for the Shrunken now, but the Shrunken plus Nullstone is so defensive. He has no damage. He doesn't hurt anything at all. You know, and that's a bit of a problem. Spell Sunder on Pharaoh made no sense. I think the early portal key from Legionnaire was probably the wrong decision. And then they had some issues with like stacking Ancients, and that's something that needs to happen consistently. With a Legionnaire and a Draconis on your team, like you need to stack the Ancients constantly. That needs to happen every single minute. And them not doing that, I think, costs them a lot of gold, costs them a lot of farm. You can see that in GPM charts here, and the gold disadvantage. Jump on here, Dampier just kills Pharaoh. Or Torture, meanwhile, reinitiation, but so does Prisoner. And he'll pull Legionnaire back in. Two fights really going on off the side as Pharaoh's going to get bursted down by the Dampier. Meanwhile, Kelfield will trade Rally for Bubbles. And actually a couple stuns getting taken there, so Legion side feeling like a couple of pickoffs is enough, and they're just going to kill this tower.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Prisoner and Dampier, both perfectly capable of reinitiating at this point. Damp's Shrunken Head is down, but both their portal keys are available. And the DD on Prisoner will just help kill these racks, so that's going to be mid-racks down. They could also take bottom racks probably relatively easily. Jump in here by Legionnaire, but pull back, and we'll see if they actually turn this into anything. Staccato Stones go down as well. Legionnaire will fall, but so will Dampier. Obviously has the token, he's coming right back. Timeout there onto Bubbles, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. Meanwhile, Torture falls once again, 4 guys 1 and 10. And that's going to finish off these mid-racks, and could result in a bottom racks as well. Especially considering Bubbles is timed out, they don't seem to be pausing. Rap's going to port top lane and deal with that. Dampier and Prisoner are going to help clean up this bottom lane and continue to push into the base. Reconnect there on Bubbles, so that's at least a good thing. Wingbow on Dampier. Presumably Prisoner looking to finish the breastplate. Meanwhile in the middle lane, Dampier is getting jumped, drops the Shrunken Head. Let's see if we actually turn this as a 4v1. And he's just going to run away. Has some support coming in with Rally and the Invis. We'll turn it on to Torture. And it fell on a couple. Nice Seismic Slam hits. All three as Legionnaire jump back in for some reason.
Massacre!
And now dragging a port away? Yes, actually if he had gone a little bit further he would have died, but miles, yeah. So at this point Dampier's taking 1v5s, or 1v4s. Well, hey, 1v5, 1v4, what's the difference really? Bottom lane tower going to be pressured here, and this should be yet another tower kill. Buyback was used on Bubbles. And Dampier's going to reinitiate, and that's going to be an easy kill on Bubbles, who's now immortal on Dampier. Chain reactions go down, compel forward. Warhammer does finally get picked up by Pharaoh, and Damp's like, yeah, I'm not interested in staying here any longer. We'll just try to win away. Blazing Flight going down, but a portal key is available from both him and Prisoner 945. Everybody's going to get, except for perhaps Rally, who compelled himself out of the mummy walls after the wrath of the Pharaoh. Going to continue to try to run away. Ghost Marchers are active. and the rest of his team is gonna help him escape. Blazing Flight, you might want to be careful about this here, buddy. Damper gonna go down. Nullstone goes off. Nice ultimate from Rhapsody. Does get cancelled relatively quickly, but both Torture and Draconis will fall. Meanwhile, actually, Bubbles died somehow. I don't realize how, but anyway, Bubbles died somewhere. Barry gonna get jumped on once again. Drops the Barb Armor. That's not gonna save him. Meanwhile, Energy Field KO will catch. Man, that seismic SAM range is huge.
Genocide.
And there's a CC. So
Defeat.
outplayed. I legitimately think that Hellborn's draft is arguably better than Legion's. I think Legion's is solid, but I'm pretty sure I'd prefer the Hellborn's draft. I preferred their lanes. And they did really well in the laning phase. They just didn't do enough to punish after that. They didn't take enough map control. They didn't take any towers really, and they let the Legion side get right back in it. They let them take over the game, and that can't do that. Obviously, it's not going to help you win. So, YLTP here will move on to the round of 16 in the CiC Qualifiers, and BBPB unfortunately will get knocked out.